session, and we'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have a quorum. Is Ms. Wells on?
She's not.
Yet? Okay, so Ms. Wells is not here yet. Mr. Guthrie is absent also. Everyone else is here. A motion to approve the agenda as written for open session. Motion, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion?
That's what it is.
Then, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
March Madness, because I chose by everybody, I came in first and I chose by color of uniform and the
Any
mask.
comment? We have no one for
That's what
that.
it is. That's what he's
For
mad
consent
about.
agenda.
I wiped the floor with them. And they were
Yeah,
being
I'm
so
gonna pull the
cocky
minutes
about
off
it,
there
and
and
I'm
do
like,
that separately as a vote, because I wasn't here last month. Or I'll just abstain from all of it, just four of them.
We still have enough.
There's enough to do it, so let's just go on through.
Alright, so
Yeah, you would have-
That's my fault.
So let's go, we're good.
he totally picked it the right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Did everybody saw the items for surplus? See? Everybody good with that? Okay. Motion, Mr. Birdsong to approve, Mr. Shoeshank, second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 4-1.
Are we okay with it?
Good with the bills? Questions on any of the bills? Saw the additions put in there? Oh, everybody? Just a few.
Which we knew with it being this close.
Yeah, we know.
The 16th makes it
16's
tough.
early.
Next one too.
Yeah, it's like 18.
It'll be close to 14.
No, it's
It's
the
the 20th.
21st,
It's
isn't it? 20th or 21st, is
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
21st, correct, 21st. That's 22nd spring.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. I had it.
We're good.
Yeah, maybe.
Got plenty of time.
Yes.
Motion.
Motion to pay the bills, or second? Second, Mr. Birdsong. Thompson was your motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0.
I almost said it.
Principals report. Mr. Talent, would you like to go first this time? I think Mr. Clark went first. I don't know, when you're last week. You get to go tonight, right? What's with the get up? I just gotta know, because it's, what was, I know, but what was today?
Biker versus surfer. So biker turned into Hawaiian. I got cows on my shirt. I decided to wear a mullet. And
I
then
didn't see the cows, but they don't go with that shirt, but it's okay.
Amy wasn't festive, so I gave her my.
I thought maybe you were a banker, you had a little visor.
Well, you know, I've actually
She's a
done
money
that more
counter.
often today than I thought I would. Man.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Our Capturing Kids' Hearts work that we're doing this month is around teamwork. Last month, was self-efficacy, I believe, or something like that. Ms. Caffey continues to have the prevention consultants come in. The last couple of weeks, they've been really focusing on, vape ed and trying to make better choices. We're doing that during lunch and then spilling over into some afternoon, like wolf time with the younger kids. And then on the flip side of that, we've also been having lots of the military branches come in and do their presentations.
Very much.
We had a successful bus safety drill earlier in the month. It was for grades. In my building, we included 7th and 8th grade was part of that, and it seemed to be a pretty good success. Mr. Reagan is the one who came down and presented that morning and worked through all the different grades, and really enjoyed it. So
He does a good job.
he did a really good job.
He's an awesome dude, though. So.
We had parent-teacher conferences since last time we met. I'm going to use the term okay.
High school's almost always.
In seventh grade, we had about 38% attendance. In eighth grade, we had 27%. And then 9 through 12, I didn't even go through to separate them out. We had 70 different signatures, but that includes some duplicates. So if you went to all 8 teachers, you could be 8 times in that 70.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because during the day?
I really think that high school has not really ever had a huge following for that.
I heard the same thing in elementary school. Optometry.
Sure.
If they thought, because it's during the day.
Yeah.
I don't know, people would work.
But now, we did have some hours in the evening, right?
Oh, yeah. 5 to
7?
5 to 7, I
I think we
think.
went to 7.
7:30 maybe.
5:30, 7:30, I wanna say.
Something. Very similar to that. Miss Ford, we've actually been able to partner with most of the Frisco League for junior high ELA. And Richland has been hosting a junior high ELA workshop, like curriculum workshop. They've had 2 sessions now, and we're all sending our junior high, so for us, it's Miss Ford. They're trying to get a more comprehensive curriculum put together that we all can work on and follow together. So she's really excited about doing that. I talked to her again today about it, and the next one is in December, first part of December, but when I first asked her if she'd be part of it, she hesitated and said, "Oh, I'll do 1, maybe 2. Well, now, once we get to talking about all the next sessions, she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to all of it." Like, it's really beneficial when she sees the
Do you know how many schools have been attending?
No, but it is open to Frisco League only.
I understand, I'm just curious how many of the 9 schools are showing.
They did email us about math this week, and this Kingsley.
They did.
And there seemed to be a pretty good response from the league about what areas of math to focus on, upper elementary, junior high, and high school.
I like the process they're going through. They've really got it laid out there, writing curriculum, starting at the right spots, going through it, so it's a good process.
Yeah.
Who's leading that?
Right now,
Richland is hosting, so they're kind of,
Dr. Turner?
I believe she's actually
Yeah.
in there right now.
she's the one who's reaching out to all of us.
And she and I talked about math. I love it. My only concern is sending people out to do it, because then they're out of classroom, right? But if we could come up with a way to do that and kind of get them framed and started,
Yeah,
and maybe then continue more online and touch base
but
with
the
video.
growth they could have from that though.
It's huge.
Come in.
It's huge.
So
Except
old
for
now.
she's out when he's out on Friday.
You
We don't care about that.
You don't care what y'all doing.
It's good work.
He's always been backwards.
Compass Health, we did a staff training over trauma, mostly about triggers and how to identify and see all that in the classroom. The next one, the next time we have it coming in December, we're gonna talk about de-escalation strategies. Talking them back down. The 3 of us, we've worked with Fort Leonard program.
Nobody surprised me.
I know, just telling you in advance. Go ahead.
We've been talking with the PI program, Partners in Education. Ms. Kingsley actually was able to go on base this week.
That's all the further I got. Next time I'll make it to the meeting. We can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. I've been trying to put that partnership back together.
Yeah, we should talk about
This month in November, we are recognizing, through the Fort Leonard Wood Leadership Nominations, we are recognizing Respect. October's was Duty, and that went to Penny Hammock and Penny Moore.
On the Compass work that you did that last PD, right? Did all of us have to go through that?
Yes, we did 2 sessions, morning and afternoon.
I knew you did 2 sessions, okay.
They've been through 2 sessions of Compass now, trauma, and then they went through or just secondary trauma, dealing with that stress of dealing with other people's trauma.
And then the 3rd session will be about de-escalation.
De-escalation strategies.
Fall Picture Day, it was scheduled for this week, it went well. Mr. Hildebrand and I, we were working to get our senior banners up, as quick as we can in the gym. Fall theater performance, they had their 3 events, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, on November 7th, 9th, and 10th. The show was about Hollywood. It's called Hollywood's Least Wanted. It was about a writer's strike and a actor's strike, and they had to go back to real world and be real people. And it was all self-written. It was not a purchased production. It had improv and comedy built into it. It was pretty impressive. The night that I was there.
Yeah, about your crowd.
The night I was there was a little light, so Friday night was a packed house.
Huge, phenomenal crowd, and they continued on. It was a great event, a really great event.
What would be about 80?
I don't know, I just know that I was sitting near the back.
Does it seat that many?
Yeah, it was just a
I
lot
didn't realize
of
it was
fun.
that big when I was in there. I didn't think it seated that many, really. Okay.
We had seating all over, so I don't know. There was even couches in the back, you know. But it was full. Really great.
We have PTO on the calendar. They're gonna host their December movie night on December 22nd. FFA has attended their national FFA convention. Everything went well, and we didn't have any troubles or issues on our end. I think the district we shared transportation with could had something else happen, but I think everything's worked out. But everybody I've talked to had a good takeaway. The string was extremely tickled with
How many did we have?
15. Does that sound right?
7.
It was more than I thought it was gonna be.
It's normally about that every year though. It's
Yeah,
12,
15, 20. She had a pretty good crowd, pretty good group. We also went, as soon as they got back, then we hosted the community Thanksgiving luncheon down there, and then the next day hosted the FFA blood drive in a small gym. So she's been hustling since she got back to Missouri, then she had Thanksgiving to do, and then blood drive to organize. Beta, they hosted their Veterans Day breakfast. It was here last Friday in the Media Center. Robotics, of course, is up and going. Mr. Herde and Mr. Neal are working with the team to get ready for their first meets. It was actually last weekend tonight. Mr. Buck, I actually didn't get to follow up and see how they did. Okay. And then they're also both of our teams are planning and conducting the robotics meet here on December 2nd and December 9th. So the first 2 Saturdays of the month we'll have meets here.
This will be the first time that we're hosting the younger
Group. As you can tell, classes are ready for Meet the Wolves, decorating, skill rehearsals, and the parade. Both boys and girls have started up the practices, and then of course we play tomorrow night for the scrimmage, 6:30. And then cheer started their cheer camp, and it looks like they've had a huge turnout of littles this year. So.
A bunch of
42, I think.
I
think there's 42.
It was massive. The cafeteria's been full every
I saw a
night.
picture
Till
of them.
5:30.
Yeah,
They're packed in there.
there's a bunch of them. Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad it's going so well.
And then in November, or the November date, or enrollments, 191 total enrolled in 7 through 12 with 91.5 ADA.
So did we lose any from last time to this time?
We did 3 transferred out. Those are Mr. Birdsong, those are foster kids.
Okay.
What?
As Mr. Towns said, we completed the bus safety and several other safety drills in October and early November. We introduced the book vending machine and had our first students who received positive office referrals get a token and get to pick out a book. So that was a lot of fun. On the 25th, 1st through 6th grade got to go to the zone. It was free as a result of Miss Spabo winning a contest through the zone. So basically the whole elementary got to go. On the 27th, 4th and 5th grade went to a pumpkin patch. And that night we had our first family engagement night. Great turnout, really successful evening. We made it through the Halloween parties and parent teacher conferences. Elementary pre-K to 6 averaged 49% participation.
Which is lower than normal. Yes?
Yeah, a little bit. And so we started a conversation about how maybe we can increase those numbers.
Good.
talked about the Littles and Cheer Camp, getting ready for Meet the Wolves, and, Miss Mercer has finished her first round of progress monitoring for the reading success plans, and we're updating the students and our whole after-school tutoring process. Professional development, MRI was here with elementary teachers on November 6th, and returns again in December on the 13th and 14th. We talked about the Compass Health presentations. We had the CKH Capturing Kids' Hearts Process Champions visit. Had 9 teachers plus Mr. Talent and I were able to spend some time in there. It was really good, and they'll kind of be our leadership team for implementing. Pathways to Reading came back today. Had a really good visit with the lower elementary teachers. Our first year teachers go to VTAP again on November 27th. And the Missouri Writing Project returns to work with our core literacy team and a lot of other staff on December 4th. Our SPED team is going to conduct on-site training on December 4th. Compass Health is back for de-escalation. And then in January, our lower elementary teachers and Ms. Miller go to Letters 2, their third visit to Letters 2, and Ms. Mercer will go to her visit for Letters 1 and 1. Enrollment in the elementary has held steady at 161. We lost 1, gained 1. And our ADA this month was 94.4%.
Oh. We'll let him give his report. We don't have to vote on that until action time, but we'll go ahead and let him. It's a good time to stop just for a moment.
Yeah.
In between
Yeah,
reports, if he's there. Where's the last one? Hi, Steve. What's the?
Gray hair?
He started with the gray hair.
Gray hair's
Yeah. That's the first step, huh, Steve? How to get the gray hair. Oh, it's been a long time since I've been.
What's that? Yeah, I know all about that gap.
That's what's sitting next to you.
Mine's healed up from the venture through the woods.
Got home, blood all, I didn't know it.
I had the same thing when I watched the bird hit that. Oh man, that got hurt. And I did this and my hand just
For the live order, we're having our auditor talk with us and give us our audit report, so that's why we're having this break for a moment. You're gonna see Ken here in just a second. He's gonna, oh, there he is. Can you hear us?
Yes, hello.
Hello. He's gonna go over our audit report for the district. Okay, Ken, you're on.
Okay, well, thank you very much, appreciate it. Happy holidays coming up to everybody. Safe travels. This is my 5th presentation tonight, so I'm gonna sound a little drunk because they kind of all meshed together because they're so common. Here we go. The Newburg R2 School District received what we call a clean opinion, which basically says that your financial statements are presented fairly in accordance with cash basis of accounting, which is really checkbook accounting, which is cash received is recorded as revenues when the monies are deposited, and expenditures are recorded when monies are spent and dispersed as through checks. So it's different than accrual basis accounting, but it is a way that of 535 school districts in Missouri, probably 485 of them use the cash basis of accounting. So you should feel good about the fact that you did get a clean opinion in that regard. There are 5 or 6 areas I want to talk about, just because they're not part of the basic thing we tend to look at sometimes. So on pages 14 and 15, you'll see the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the 2 years, 2023 on page 14 and 2022 on page 15. And you'll see that revenues collected were up about $353,000 over the year before. There's deficit spending in both years, but that's primarily because of the capital projects monies that were spent out over the 2 years, which you'll look and see it's over $1,800,000 in those 2 years. And so, in spite of that, we still have a good positive general fund balance of $2,566,000 at the end of June 30th, 2023. And the capital projects fund had $536,000 still available to be spent. I believe that we still had the egg building to finish up in the time we were there in August. So. Next area I'd like to look at would be the long-term debt footnote, which is pages 23 and 24. And I emphasize that because since you are the cash basis of the county, it doesn't get recorded on the balance sheet anywhere as debt in your fund balance sheets. So on page 23, you'll see a description about the different types of debt you have: note payable, general obligation bonds, and finance purchase agreement. And then on page 6, you look and see the activity there, and you'll see that at the end of June 30th, 2023, you had $1,763,655 of debt to be paid over. In the middle of that, page 24, you'll see the scheduled payments, and they'll be paid off in 2040, the general obligation bond. Also, in the bottom of page 24, you'll see that the legal debt margin available for borrowing, if you were to do another general obligation bond, would max out at $3.2 million. On page 37 and 38, that shows the pension liabilities that the district is required to contribute to. PSRS is the pension liability for teacher retirement, and the PEERS, which is also the retirement for your non-classified workers. And you'll see that on the top of both of those pages, there's a column called proportionate share of the net pension liability over the last 10 years. And you'll see that the projected liability for 6/30/2022, which is the latest available, is $2,737,000 for the teacher retirement plan, and $408,000 for the non-teacher plan. And basically what that says is that these monies, if actuarially determined, there isn't enough money to cover the liabilities of those two pension plans. You'll see at the far right there that for the PSRS plan, 86% of the liability is covered, and for the PEERS plan, 87.92%. is covered. On page 39 and 40 is a schedule of revenues collected by source. And it's worth looking at because it shows where individual revenues have gone up and down in the past year. You'll see that local revenues, basically, they're up $244,000 over the year before. The county revenue is basically the same number for the 2 years. The state number has gone up $336,000. And you'll see that the school safety grant accounted for $100,000 of it. Transportation was up $101,000. And they fully funded that at 100% in fiscal year 2023 instead of historically they've only been doing 30 to 40% over the last 10 years. Also, I believe there's career ladder kicked in again in 2023 of $61,000. And then on page 40, you'll see that federal monies are down as a result of the tapering off of the ESSER funds and the pandemic monies. So it's down $313,000. And finally, receipts from other districts is up. And that's primarily a timing difference as to when monies were collected. Some of the districts didn't get the monies in 22 like they should have until after June 30th of 2022. So kind of had a doubling effect being reported there in 2023. The last page I want to talk about is the very last page, which is page 60. And it's a 10-year look back of different numbers and ratios and things like that that are important to look at. And you'll see that fund balances in 2023 is $3,280,000. We still have some capital project money that will probably be spent, which will lower that in 2024. The revenues collected were $5.7 million, and if we didn't have some of this debt year to year, that's probably over the last 2 years the highest we've had for fund balances, or for revenues collected, excuse me. And also, if you look at your revenues collected over the last 10 years, the last 2 years have been deficit spending. That's because of the capital project money that's been released and spent. And other long-term debt outstanding, your notes and your finance purchases, you see that we peaked in 2021, and now we're scheduled to slowly pay them down as we go. And I believe I said earlier that that's a 20-year payoff remaining on your general obligation bonds. Finally, your ADA and your September resident membership numbers are down about a little bit less than 11% over the last 10 years. That's not unusual for a Missouri rural district to have that kind of statistic. I've seen it more like 15 to 25% actually. So you've been able to avoid some of the consternation of losing students, but it's still ongoing in your district. The operating fund balance to expenditure ratio is 54.43%. If you look back in 2014 and 2015, we were actually in the distress category at 5.9 and 7.9. Actually, I think the distress category is right at 5%, so we barely averted that from happening. But consistently, the boards for Newburg have been able to gather momentum and bring that ratio back up. This is still probably arbitrarily high because of the pandemic relief and the effect of some of the monies that are still in the coffers. But 30 to 34% is a strong number to try to attain and maintain. DESE believes that 16 to 17% is a healthy school district. That's only about 6 weeks worth of cash flow, however. So if you look at it from that standpoint, I believe it should be more like 30 to 34, because I think you need more like 3 months worth of cash flow for your down months when you don't have revenues coming in, especially in August, September, October, November, until your local property tax money comes in January and February. Otherwise, we had real good help from Amy and Tracy, and we appreciated all the help we got and got in. And we had 3 auditors, so we kind of engaged them and had a lot of work to do. It went well. Are there any questions you have?
Any questions? Good, we're good, Ken.
Okay. Thank you very much, and don't forget to approve the audit.
We will not forget to do that. Now you can go home now.
Okay.
Oh,
Take care.
okay, all right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Clark, are you finished? Yes. Okay. Ms. Kingston, I'm going into your report.
All right, so Ken covered number 1 for me. And then just kind of mention a few things, safety grant, if we can get the funds approved tonight, potentially that will be taken care of through the safety grant. With the state approved reading series wonders that we purchased, we got reimbursed for that. And then just kind of want to keep you all abreast of the enrollment situation. So noting there that we were at 351. And we really picked the number. Wherever we started with that first number, we're just following that same date, so it might be a little off what they're saying, but it's within there, that kind of scope. So about 50 kids below where we were last year at this time. Recruit, attract, develop, retain high quality staff. Just mentioning that Mrs. Martin continues to work closely with our new teachers, communicates regularly what their needs are. We put them on PD days, we put them otherwise. And it's just really staying in close contact with them and with them, and continues to drive that well. We'll be engaging in building within our district a viable, sustainable curriculum as we talk about what's been built in the past and turnover and things like that. We recognize that we really need, in many ways, to begin and to build something that's going to stay here. So as teachers leave, it stays and continues to grow and develop. And so we've begun working on that and developing some forms and some pacing guides and some pieces of that puzzle. And we're hoping that within the next semester, we'll be able to get that rolled out and get people started in a really healthy way. We have several staff who are interested in using career ladder hours and incentive hours to stay after and to work on some of that. So I think we'll be able to gain some momentum and really dig in a little bit with our curriculum. And then mention there about social, emotional, behavioral needs of our students and of our staff to help students in need. Working on that, mobilizing some teams of support, working with Compass. I've also been in contact with Division of Children's Services to work with them a little bit closer. Our Officer Bowles has been in contact with just the juvenile office, and just mobilizing some different groups of people so we can have more of a team to help support our kiddos. We also know that system of care is going to get going in this area, which I think is going to be very helpful, because then if we have some students that need, we can go to a panel of people who have some support that can help us to help them. We also in-house have started, we haven't come up with a complete name, but we think emotional response team is really what we're really looking at, and it's the principals, myself, our counselors, so we can sit down a couple of times a month, look at where we're going, where we are, what we're seeing, where our needs are, and how we're going to move forward in that. So we met this week and had a really good discussion about what we really are seeing in the classrooms and with our kids and what we really feel like our staff needs. So I think with that team guiding and discussing, we're gonna be moving in a good direction. Develop and enhance quality educational structural programs. The principals, I don't know, I haven't got a follow-up from you, Mr. Clark, but I know Mr. Tallis completed his training. You pretty close, or you completed? So they put in, 6.5-ish hours, 7 hours, something like that, in NE training. So that's completed. Our system is ready to start inputting staff, and then we will, our next PD day, start talking to the staff a little bit about what that looks like. So I think that's gonna be very beneficial for us and help to be a good guide for us in providing good instructional feedback to staff, having those kind of conversations. Celebrated some big success in October with 47% mastery of reading standards, and then when our evaluate scores came out the other day here for November, you know, every other month follows the same set of standards, so every 2 months you get a picture of all standards. So October and November will give us a full picture, and so our November, I was excited, you know, looking forward to seeing what that looked like, to see if it matched, and it came in at about 45% in ELA. So that means completely all the way around, we're really close to that 50% mark here at this point in the year in ELA, so good, you know, really good growth in ELA from K-12. So analyzing our scores is gonna become the game. How do we analyze those scores and make sure that the kids that aren't there yet, we get them there, because we know that ELA is kind of cyclical. So that could be really great that we're in a good place, or it could be that that's where we are. How do we propel them forward? So we'll be looking at that. Math is a little bit less. We struggle there, and so building curriculum there is I think our starting point, and analyzing our data to see what we can do to put in some supports now. But that's going to be a focus. We even spoke at our meeting this week about the idea some of our RTI at the upper grades is centered around ELA. Maybe we need to be doing some shifting to math. So a lot of just looking at data, conversations about where we are, discussing where we need to go and how we're gonna get there is going on right now. MAP EOC data has been shared out to the teachers, but analyzing it takes some guidance to really understand what that looks like. So we are getting together on a Monday in January, the three of us, to look really closely at that MAP and EOC data so we can understand how we can give the staff better direction on what it looks like, what it means, and then how to use our evaluate data to tie in and make those changes. Facilities, grounds, buses, that's the next piece. As they both mentioned, held our bus safety training, and we continue to have emergency drills regularly, just following the list of things, make sure we're prepared for something that may come up. Maintenance staff continues to monitor grounds and facilities, stays in communication regarding our needs and supporting those things. And then get the lead out. I don't know if you saw it, but we did get a note out to parents, and we have that now posted on our website. Where Carl's reaching out, can't remember the person's name, but he had somebody that we reach out to see if we can get those 2 water sources, drinking sources fixed. Anticipating that there might be some lead down in the piping there, so. But in the meantime, we have no posted, they're not for drinking sources, and one of them would have never been anyway, and probably wouldn't even needed to sample that one, but we did. So those pieces have been taken care of according to what we're supposed to be doing, and I was tickled that we had 20 of the 22, all of our drinking sources really were in good shape. So that's good news. Really good news, yeah. I don't know that other districts were so lucky, so
No,
really.
they were not.
I've
been here, they were not.
Not good.
So I was pleased with. Healthy, safe, cultivating a healthy, safe, warm climate. Recognizing students, I know Mr. Clark does a good job recognizing them pretty regularly for the reading goal achievement. Also just all the various ways that we're recognizing students through both buildings continues. I attended a regional safety meeting in Raleigh that was absolutely fantastic. Becky Bowles also went. I was there for half day, I went to a massive training for the other half, but he stayed. And so he is gonna be a great liaison for us to be able to be connected to all the best safety information we can get. And so we'll continue to work on where we are and where we need to go together. Many staff were recognized. Also, we do staff affirmations at every one of our PD days, and it just was a really huge, I don't know if we counted them, but there was a significant number of affirmations this time. And we spent quite a bit of time just really empowering our staff with how much we appreciate each other, which I think is something we need at this time of year, when it's kind of that hard time. And then we recognized staff perfect attendance in September and October, just something we started this year. because we know that staff attendance is key to our student success. So recognizing those staff that are here every day. If they were gone to professional development, we didn't obviously count that against them, but we had 17 perfect attendance in September and 18 perfect attendance in October. And so, I'm gonna continue to recognize them, do little drawings and things like that at our PD days. So, any questions? Feedback? Thank you.
One thing you mentioned on evaluating
Yes.
is our ELA was 47, math is like 18.
It's low, I don't,
It's actually, the district, when we looked at it, yesterday, it's actually 25 or 28 as a
Yeah.
district.
it was up this month. It was just.
Yes, and that's just talking about that last round,
Mhm.
was 25 or 28%.
And that was through October, or
November,
did that count November?
that was November,
Or was it November?
yes. I did not look at all the
With
numbers
26% in math.
Yeah, October was 23, November was 26.
But we're looking at that intervention during,
And we should be around 50%.
probably 40.
Yeah, but I mean, getting close.
In mid-year, that's what you're hoping
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
It's difficult, but we always wanna shoot for that, you know,
Because
idea.
that's how it works, is it's based on your percentage into the year.
Math time is supposed to be that.
Yes.
That's what you want, cause you want all kids to master all standards. That's what we're shooting for. We had 3 areas, second, 4th, 7th, and 10th grade who had moved up out of the below basic this time. So we're showing that growth that we're getting there. Second grade in particular, that is up to 55% and had 12% growth. So there are good things happening. There are pockets of good things happening. And then overall, we were at 26% this month. So, but again, I think that's an area for our curriculum to start developing. And we'll see some more change in that as we really understand our standards. Because we really think about where standards are driving us to be doing
Once we digest and learn about it.
a lot. Absolutely.
Any questions? Okay. Move on to facilities and construction. Ag building. I guess you see the sheet in the packet that's highlighted or.
Yeah, I did. I thought, well, I've got it in my hand. Maybe I should put it in the packet. That was the list we had last month. We had just separated out on there what we felt like in yellow, it might be our role to do in-house. And then from that, we just have I put it on a spreadsheet so that tech has a list and maintenance has a list, and they've been working through that and getting things accomplished. They update periodically on that, how they're doing, and just chipping away, to try to be on target with our open house in February. I don't know if you have updates.
Some of these, I think, are done, right?
Looks fantastic.
I think we're still seeing that.
Is that right?
They're gonna fix it.
Bill instead of
Yeah, we're gonna do some parking stops out there, because it looks like it's backed out, twisted the whole deal.
Okay.
So we need,
we'll get some stops, yeah.
they can pick them up and burn on.
Yeah,
they're like 40 bucks each, they're not terrible.
Are they the concrete ones?
They're heavy. Be prepared.
All right, well, appreciate the feedback.
Yeah. So.
Not what you want to hear, man.
News for later, but.
That was you
asked. Sorry about that.
Somebody had to say the rock.
I really wasn't even thinking about that.
Way to go, Doug.
I'm sorry.
Way to bring us
I
down.
like it.
It does look
Doug get it? No.
fantastic.
I didn't get it, but I can see.
The back of the building with the lights on the side now with all that looks really nice.
Looks
That
so
looks
nice.
Really good. I noticed that this evening.
Nice to pull into the district and just kind of see that.
Are
What a
they-
great
Are they
way.
moving that comment down?
Yeah, I was supposed to move a long time ago, I just haven't had a chance to.
I didn't know you were moving it, I was just asking if it get
Just
moved. I
keep
wasn't
kicking
trying to
it.
throw you out there, man.
I actually sent a machine down, but it got forgot, so. I believe the bus bonds, everything's done as far as that gas.
His gas got in, I hadn't gotten an update on that. I knew the,
Those came out and.
I saw the lines
Test
down
and
there.
everything, and then, he was supposed to, the code was fired this morning. So we won't be wood heating more than we should be on propane.
So then I guess we found another unit in clean
clean out on the bus farm?
They had some back there, I guess smaller. Oh, bigger.
That was just hanging out.
Wait a minute, I might be telling back.
It's okay.
Maybe we got a bigger one, maybe it's the same size that we originally was putting.
Okay.
But
Yeah, Carl had a couple back there that he was saying, we might need to use these. I think they used them maybe in bathrooms or somewhere where pipes would, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know,
I don't know where
anyway.
it came from, but we got a couple, so we actually put a T on the, plumb everything with gas, so that it's a possibility we could. If we need them, we can install them. So, something to think about.
Street project?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it here, but. What do you know? You
I
heard
did-
from her this week at all?
I reached out to her back today. I didn't jot it down, but it was awarded and they're gonna be in contact with us. She called to leave me some dates on the phone, and honestly, I just haven't had a chance to check my phone to write the dates down. So I'll send them out to you maybe tomorrow, so we can find a time to get together.
I talked to Jeff Meadows the other day, and he said that they awarded it.
I wanna say it's like Massey. There it is, yes, that's who.
They do a lot of that. Oh, they do a lot of that.
Okay. So what we're planning to do is meet with the contractor and the engineer and our board to go over how they're gonna work the street,
It'd probably be Craig Long.
so that we aren't down too far.
Actually,
So,
you can come.
They talked about maybe doing that over Christmas break.
That'd be great.
That is just what,
Or at least that water
that's
line.
that's what Jeff had said when I talked to him, is, oh, we could think about having it done on Christmas break, and I said, that's a nice idea.
Cause they have the water line portion, plus they have the guttering on the back street side. So it's gonna,
I don't know if they'll get the line that done. but I
The
don't know
water
if they'll
line
get-
side.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll get the hillside.
The water on the side will take up the most.
I take up the road,
Yeah, that'd be the biggest problem. If they
Go out and have a plan.
break, that'd be awesome.
cause it's gonna be basically almost like two projects. I mean, it's the same street, but.
Okay. Anything else? Projects?
Nope, I think that's-
Okay. Move on to our action items. We're on A for our audit that we just heard from and Ken. Please give a motion to approve our 2023 audit.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Brookshire, second, Mr. Shushank. Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. You get Steve coming in when you can? I thought, thank you. And now we can approve the SBR, because now we have the audit completed. We've had the SBR for a long time, we've seen that, but now we just need the approval so that Amy can put it in the system. Motion, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Stand down and proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. In your packet, you see that Mrs. Kingsley has done some phone negotiations, I guess is the word we want to use with that. Look, right now, we currently use Brightspeed. We pay about $1,600 a month. Is that right?
Anywhere between $1,600 to $1,700.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Get that off. Remember that.
Top of your head.
I wrote it down.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I've been looking here now. But, she's done some work there and talked with them. Voice Connect is who we have used because of the doors and our safety. So they kind of have done a lot of that. So that's why we contacted them to get some information from them. And the intercom system that we put in, or whether they could help us with phones. They can. So I'll be quiet now and you can say the rest because I don't know enough about it.
It's complicated, but I think to simplify it, we need two things. One, the approval to move ahead and buy those Grand Stream phones, which is somewhere in the $8,000 to $9,000 range, again with safety grant. We get new phones. We have new phones already for our secretaries, because that's to connect to the internet, so they are to connect to the intercom. So they'll use those phones then, for more than just the intercom, it would be for phone service as well. So everybody else gets a new phone. And then second piece would be allowing us to go ahead with the voice over internet option. I've talked to him significantly. Amy, who has way more knowledge about technology than I do, has been in and been a part of those conversations. I've talked to Steve, spent some time with him even today and talked about things. Matt is the fellow that we work with at Voice Connects, and basically there's a failover solution, which would include a cellular unit. If that doesn't work, we would just keep the copper lines with Brightspeed. So what I'd like to do is just give him the ability for us to either go with Broad Voice or UMA, whichever he prefers. They're both very similar in price. The only difference is Broad Voice doesn't even attempt to include the our security system. UMA would attempt to bring everything all into one package, but that would be with that failover system that wouldn't really be using the copper lines. So if that doesn't work, it would be nice for him to just have the flexibility to use whichever. So what I'd like to do is to approve maybe the opportunity to just work with Voice Connects, so that because what they'll do is they're finding those people for us that they know are the right solution for us, and they're both so very similar. I'd just like to give the freedom, if that's all right with you all, to be able to go with whichever one and let them do what they need to do. They're very close, and we're gonna reduce our overall spending for phones significantly. Yes, overall, we're reducing significantly.
$265.
It's not much.
And
It's the same as across the board, though.
yeah.
In the end, it's the
Same
same thing,
thing.
just in the mobile.
Right, so I just wanna give them the flexibility to use which is needed.
Even if we have to do that reoccurring the monthly for either one, which other is gonna be UMA or the Broad. Just even if we have to do 3 lines, meaning that we have to keep 3 lines with Brightspeed, we're still going to be saving a ton. Either way, it's probably the best route, whichever you guys decide.
And it might work.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And when I pick up my phone, I might be able to make a phone call,
That would be,
which I can't right now.
You were
I
not
rarely
connected.
can ever make a phone call.
and most people can't call it.
Yeah.
If you call down here, a lot of times, if I call down here, it's 2 or 3 times.
I feel terrible because, when I feel terrible, because I'm sure there's people who have reached out who'd like to talk to me, who might think I'm just not returning their call. I've never gotten a message. I can't get anything, so I'd like to get us to a point where it opens our communication.
Because you're calling the line.
Voice call.
You say you get there every time?
Do you get it?
Sometimes it goes up. Most of the time, it's.
Even if we try to call out, it tells us that our line's disconnected, and I'm
Yes.
like.
Maybe
it's
2 or 3
not
times.
disconnected.
I get that all the time. And I thought people just had all these disconnected phones. No, listen closer to what it's saying. It's saying, your line is disconnected, and I went.
Well, I'll make a motion for Voice Connects, and then we move forward, and then let admin and their representatives decide which options fit us the best and work the best for our needs. The cost is the same, basically, so, there's not gonna be much difference there. I don't know how we need to word that exactly, but pretty much that, and let you all make that final determination.
Motion, Mr. Thompson, motion, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson, to use Voice Connects as our main provider, allow them the room and opportunity to pick between the Broad Voice quote or the UMA quote, whichever best fits our district the best, and make it work. And then also provide that we still are able to get out when these are copper lines, and keep our copper lines, that way we can get out if we have a failure with
Whatever works with our security system as well.
it all lines up. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. Darla, have a
Appreciate it.
No.
Okay. I asked Ms. Kingsley to put on our action or discussion items, the preliminary calendar. And the reason for the preliminary calendar was for next year is to discuss the 4-day week and how the 4-day week seems to be going as far as education wise, money wise. And we put that 4-day week in there, hopefully to retain some teachers. How successful are we being at that? That's up for debate, I think, a little bit. And then also educational time. You know, if our teachers are still taking the amount of days that they can take every year for whatever reasons, and it's okay, they have those days. If they use all those days and they're gone one day a month, 1 day a week, that's only 75% of the time that they're in the building or in the classroom for that week, just missing 1 day. So my worry is where we are, how we can maybe squeeze that up a little bit and make that a little tighter for ensuring that our students are given all the educational opportunities they possibly can have. So,
We're talking about 10 days though, right? Isn't that what it was? And it's what
6.
we changed.
It was 6 days.
So after we had a conversation about this, I
You mean teacher days or you mean school days? 6 days was the difference.
So it's,
We-
on the educational side, it's, the instruction time is not gonna change much on what we do.
We had gone from 161 days, somewhere in that range. We went to 158, 57 a few years ago. So then when we went to 148, which is now, we lost 6 days, so it must have been 154. So,
Remember, it was very little.
it was low. It wasn't a lot. What concerns me is the amount of time that we've got subs in the building, we have subs in the building all the time. So that to me needs to be addressed a little bit, of how we can cut our subs down and our teachers to be here more.
You started an incentive, didn't you say you started an incentive program?
Just recognizing people that are here.
Yeah, which I've
Is
noticed.
there any reward on that?
That's good.
Is there any?
Just a drawing, with some candy and pens, and just recognition, really drawing attention to it was kind of my goal, and start talking about it. We also discussed it in our first leadership meeting this year, and there was we've got some new staff and some young staff that don't understand maybe how all that works, and sometimes might see, I have 13 days, I can use them however I want. Well, that's not really what that's supposed to do.
13.
You've got a point.
Actually, I know.
No,
I
they
have
have 13.
I have 13. I know, I checked on that. So it's a lot of days that they have available to them on a 4-day week.
But the first one doesn't count against that, right?
No. And so, we did talk about that, we talked in the first leadership meeting, and just that understanding that, that they bank over the years, and then eventually you get paid out for those. And there was some people who didn't quite understand that, so I think some more conversation about that.
What's our max? 60?
63.
63. Okay.
Now there's things I think we could be doing to talk about, draw more attention to it, because it is, every time staff isn't here, the kids don't get the best they can get for the day. And so, I think we've talked about it as an admin team. I'd like us to be able to continue to talk about it for a little while and focus on it, talk to some other superintendents about ways that they're addressing it. One that I recently spoke with, they lowered the number of days that staff would bank, so they get paid out sooner. That district actually allowed them, every day that they get for that year, they get 10 in that district. Whatever they don't use, they get the option to pay for those that year. And they don't even have to bank any if they don't want to. And she said that significantly changed their attendance problem. But it also doesn't help people plan for the future. It really is their decision, but, as you might have a extended lead time, we have some trouble with that potentially.
I mean, is there any districts do it where you?
I don't know. I know the district it came from about an hour away does.
When we switched to a 4-day, I think there were 124, 128.
I think Scotland's the only one in the
There's
Crystal League.
considerably more than that.
There's a lot.
Houston's looking at it, cause I just talked to them.
There's more and more going to that, yes.
Yeah.
But Crystal League, I think just us. So,
Yeah.
I think
And
Now,
there's,
do we have any concerns for, feeding our kids on the Monday when they're not here? Do we still have programs where we're doing that?
We still have the backpack program, I know they're still doing that.
Oh,
utilizing
is that being utilized very well, do you know, Amy?
You know,
or-
I'll be honest with you, because I don't spearhead that, I don't.
Yeah, Miss Gaddy and Miss Adams, identify students in need, and every Friday they bring down Walmart bags with goodies in them. They're very, just discreet, putting the kids back.
You bet, so just wanna make sure we're making that there, because that's another thing with the extra day off is you're missing some social interaction and you're missing food.
I mean, it's just 6 days, that's what I have to go back to my mind, yeah, it's just 6 days.
And I didn't see it, I wasn't here when that.
No, you weren't.
And I didn't realize this was only 6 days of instruction time before the that was given.
Good days.
Well, however it works out, it's a whole year of
Oh, yeah.
3-day weekend,
Yes,
it's a whole
yes.
year of Monday.
Probably they would have a day, I mean, the way the calendar was before, they would have a day throughout the year that
Yeah, no,
they
we're not.
were gonna have a 3-day.
Yeah.
Something we can look into.
I just think it's
I know other
something to
districts,
discuss.
my hometown district has a truck that comes, because it's a high poverty area too, and there's a truck that comes on Mondays and just sits up at the elementary school and families come and get it. So there are some things maybe we could look at and see if that's something our area needs.
I thought I just wanted to make sure that we were still doing that,
It
we're
is.
still active.
Right.
At one time, it was pretty big.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just didn't know where we were.
There's a lot of work.
Yes. Good thing to have for us to keep going.
And maybe just keep us abreast of what
Sure.
discussions that you're having, so maybe get some feedback from them as far as what issues they're having, if there's Monday work, what's, what's going to be off.
Reducing the days would not be, I would have an issue with reducing the days, I mean,
For the staff,
the staff, yeah.
we talked about that last year, we, in the end, didn't do it.
Yes.
We talked about it,
Because in the end, it's not near as painful on those. I mean, it's really, you got
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them with 63 and they all 1 year, it's painful.
And that bill is there.
I mean, it's,
You're right. It's just items to keep us on.
Might be a good way to
Yep.
work some of that out.
Item E, election sign-up dates. I know we run, what's the first date? I lost it.
December 5th.
December 5th, we run through December 26th.
Yes.
Only days that we're here, of course. We have a calendar going all the way to December 22nd, so we'll be here all that time. The only day we aren't here is the last day, which is December 26th. I think in your note it said from 12 to 5. but-
Yes,
Correct.
I would be here.
From noon to 5.
Yes, yes.
And that'd be the last day, we have to be here at some point during that last day, remember, last minute wants to sign up. So that'd be our dates. Motion to approve that sign up date sheet, motion, Mr. Thompson, second, Mr. Brookshire, any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote, all those in favor, please raise your hand, motion carries 6-0. We'll set our December date, looks like December 21st. Everybody good? Good. Everybody be ready for December 22nd at that point, won't they? Mr. Talent, you got a baby coming in.
Sure do.
In the near future, don't you?
I sure do.
I don't know if Mrs. Kingsley talked to you gentlemen or not, but at the next board meeting, could you please bring any concerns as far as staff and teachers for executive session when we do that, the next board meeting? For our principals, and I know Mr. Talent, you're probably not gonna be here, but you can talk to Mrs. Kingsley to get any ideas about that, okay? You aren't gonna be here, right?
The 19th is the latest we'll go,
Yeah.
but he's also been in place for the last 3 weeks.
Growing every day.
I'm track to be 10 to 12 pounds.
Oh. Probably ought to go before then. I'm thinking we may.
He's gonna come out with one of those
You got-
bullets.
Yeah.
Ooh, goodness gracious, okay. We'll be praying a lot for
The
that.
OB said we'll deliver the toddler one way or another.
The toddler, huh?
I mean,
That's awesome.
okay,
Not for the wife.
that's exciting.
She's not excited.
I need a motion to go into executive.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Wiltshire, second, Thompson. We'll do roll call, Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Shushan. Wiltshire, Mr. Guthrie.
Yes.
Birdsong, myself, yes, all 6-0. We good? Okay, take about a 5-minute break, is that good enough for everybody? We'll come back and I think